What's good with it, BlakGooseTV family, man? Double salute as always. Your boy Fluence Boxing is back in the building once again, and I got some boxing news for my family members. First and foremost, what's good with it? Happy Monday. Blessings to everybody. As always, stay blessed, not stressed. What are we talking about in this particular video? We're talking about Michel Rivera. We're talking about Frank Martin. We're talking about two people in the lightweight division that I would say are rising stars on their way up, have a possibility to make a big step when it comes to the lightweight division. And they will be facing off officially December 17th. I cannot wait for this particular fight. I'm going to even be 110% with you guys, all right, when it comes to this particular fight. I had no idea that this fight was made until I saw this particular headline. Now I'm trying to figure out, did I miss something? Was I slacking? Was I not paying attention? I know I was gone for a whole week because, the sickness and all that type of stuff. But I'm like, yo, I'm usually up, on the up and up when it comes to especially like two prospects, two rising stars in the division. If a fight is made, if a fight is official, I would think I would know. And I would think I would have already made a video about it to inform my family members. So I'm definitely late when it comes to talking about this particular fight between Michel Rivera and Frank Martin. Like I said, I didn't know this fight was made until I saw this particular article from Boxing Scene. When I looked at the date for December 17th, I was like, okay, well, this isn't the first time it's been announced, and this is the first time it ain't, been talked about. Obviously, they must have made this fight official months back, or at least a month back, because obviously they have to have the appropriate amount of time for them to both to do their training camp. So, first and foremost, I am upset that I'm a little late to the party when it comes to talking about this particular fight between these two rising prospects, these two rising stars, these two boxers, in my personal opinion, that was going to be very, very formidable opponents, or very, very bright futures between the two when it comes to Michel Rivera and Frank Martin in the lightweight division. As we all know, Frank Martin is a protege of Errol Spence Jr. He signed to Errol Spence. Frank Martin is a guy Errol Spence is promoting like crazy and been saying that he is the future of the lightweight division. We all know Frank Martin is a little bit on the older side, when it comes to talking about a rising star and a prospect. I believe Frank Martin is 27 or 28 years old, which is obviously he's undefeated. He hasn't taken a lot of damage, but when we're talking about rising stars, rising prospects, Frank Martin is what I would consider a little bit on the older side when it talks about, or when we're talking about, he hasn't really fought a big name opponent or really put himself in a position where we can say, oh yeah, he is the real deal. Usually people or usually boxers in the position Frank Martin is currently right now, they're usually Michel Rivera's age. I think Michel Rivera is only 24, 25. So both of them are two rising prospects. Both of them are undefeated. Both of them are people that we're very interested in when it comes to the boxing side of the game, when it comes to lightweight, when it comes to the up-and-comers coming up, when it comes to the people who can challenge and be future contenders for the lightweight belt. These are two names that you talk about. But like, to put everything into perspective, when you look at Frank Martin, he is technically a little bit on the older side when you talk about a rising prospect or a rising star in this division. Now, some people would point, well, what about Gervonta Davis? We talk about him being a rising star and he's the future of the division. He's 27 going on 28. The difference between Gervonta is Gervonta was a rising star and a prospect back when he was 23 and 24. Now, him being 27, 28 years old, he's no longer a rising star or a prospect. He is a legitimate star. He is a pay-per-view. He's main evented for pay-per-view. He's brought in money strictly off of him being the headliner. He is a pay-per-view star, regardless of what you want to compare Gervonta Davis to in regards to, oh, well, he's a pay-per-view star. How many pay-per-views is he selling? That's a different story. But the fact is, there's pay-per-views, there's cards built around Gervonta. So Gervonta is no longer a rising star. He is a star, right? At 27, 28. So that is the difference when it comes to that. And that's kind of where I kind of make my point when it comes to Frank Martin, where he is a little bit on the late side of the game when it comes to boxing. And I don't mean skill set. I don't mean he doesn't have a bright future. What I mean by that is where he's at relative to most potential prospects and rising stars. He's a little bit on the old side, 27, 28. And I think that's a big reason why he's taking on Michel Rivera, because Frank Martin, he's a dangerous opponent for a lot of lightweights, lower reward, high risk for a lot of lightweights that he probably wants to make a name off of. So he's probably not getting those fights. So I'm pretty sure he was presented with this fight, and it's like, it's like this is the best you're gonna get, man. Rivera is a rising star. He's a prospect. He's coming up. It's a dangerous fight, but if you can beat him, that can propel you where certain lightweights are not going to be able to ignore you anymore. We all know how stacked the lightweight division is. We all know how stacked the 135 division is. We know how stacked the 140 division is. Like, he's right around that, area of weight where he can have a million different fights come his way. But we all know he has to make it where if he's going to get a big fight, it has to be more of a reward than a risk. And right now, Frank Martin is more of a risk than a reward. And so him facing Michel Rivera makes a lot of sense. Michel Rivera facing Frank Martin actually doesn't make much sense to me if I was on Michel Rivera's camp, because Rivera, very unique look. Ali is his nickname. Looks like Ali. Obviously, he's a lot smaller, but the way he boxes, the way his style is, the stylistic approach, very similar to Ali. There's a lot going for this young man when it comes to Rivera. So I don't really understand why they would want to do this, but I think it's because they're trying to fast track their way to get a big fight in the lightweight division. And they think if they can beat an Errol Prodigy and Frank Martin, now we're in Errol Spence territory. I'm not talking about him fighting Errol Spence, but I mean, we just beat his protege. Now these guys at lightweight, you know what I'm saying? The Issa Cruzes, the Javante Davises, Shakir Stevenson now at lightweight. I think Tevin Farmer is still fighting at lightweight. Ryan Garcia, obviously, he's not fighting at lightweight. He's at 140 now, but he's doing the catchweight with Javante Davis. Teofimo's at 140 now, but always there's that there too. You can kind of fluctuate when it comes to 135 to 140, but all these big fights at the lightweight division, all these big fights at the 140 division. Regis Prograis is fighting this weekend against Zepeda. This will put Michel Rivera straight, directly shot line to maybe have one of these big name fights if he beats a guy like Frank Martin. Not necessarily because Frank Martin is a big name, but because he's a rising prospect just like Rivera. And the biggest thing behind Frank Martin right now is he is supposedly the protege of Errol Spence, so he has that riding for him as well. So what is my whole point? What am I getting at? Why am I talking about this? This is a fire-ass fight. December 17th, Michel Rivera, Frank Martin. Make sure you guys tune in. If you guys love boxing, this is the fight to watch. We're seeing two prospects really duke it out. We're going to see two prospects put their undefeated record on the line. Me personally, I don't think Michel Rivera needed this for his career at this point. I think he could have kept kind of doing what he was doing, wait until he's about 26, 27, then take a big fight. But we all know that as on fire as a lightweight division is, as on fire as a 140 division is, sometimes, the risk is a little bit more worth the squeeze than playing it safe, because who knows who you can fight 2 to 3 years from now. Who knows how this division is going to be 2 to 3 years from now. If you can strike while the iron is hot, you can make a superstar like this. And I understand that. Frank Martin, on the other hand, this is something he has to do because, like I said, he's a prospect. He's a rising star. And as he continues to get older, even if he stays undefeated, these guys in that 135, 140 division, Devin Haney's of the world, Teofimo Lomachenko's of the world, Jordan Cambosos, they're not going to see the reason why I should fight a Frank Martin, because like Cambosos 28 going on 29. Cambosos like, I've been there, done that. Why would I go and fight a Frank Martin when you're my age and you haven't even sniffed the accomplishments or sniffed the achievements that I've had? So Frank Martin, he has to do this. He has to take a risk. He has to fight a young gun, someone with somewhat of a name, someone who's going to kind of make him be looked at a little bit more where like there's a respect level. And it's like, okay, Frank Martin is what everybody's saying. He is definitely a protege of Errol Spence, but you know what I'm saying? The time is definitely ticking when it comes to Frank Martin, because once you hit 30, Martin, you cannot be a prospect anymore at a division that we're talking about. The young guns rule. It just is what it is. The young guns rule the smaller division. The older guys rule the bigger divisions, but the smaller division, the smaller weight class, that's all young people. That's all 20, 25 years old. Once you get past 25 and you in that lower weight class, it's just shit, nigga. You better get right. You know what I'm saying? Lomachenko was the only anomaly, in my personal opinion. Y'all let me know if I'm leaving anybody out. But one, this is a firefight. I'm going to be watching this. A good time. If you guys don't know about it, December 17th, Michel Rivera, Frank Martin. I love it. It's amazing. Two prospects getting it in, duking it out, getting it popping. I can't wait for this fight. Two, I'm upset that I didn't even realize this fight was made and confirmed until today, but it's all good. Better late than never, I'll always say. And then number three, salute to both Michel Rivera's team for making this happen and taking the chance to fight Frank Martin, because they definitely didn't have to put themselves in that position. And then also salute to Frank Martin, because he is taking the fights that at the very least is put in front of him, where he understands is going to move his career forward kind of in like a fast track way. It's like, okay, I can't get the big fights, but I can't take a risk and fight an up-and-coming rising star who thinks they can beat me, but if I beat him, it'll definitely have a lot of people notice. So I respect both fighters. I'm not going to tell you who I'm leaning toward. I just think this is going to be an amazing fight. Let's go ahead and get into this particular article coming from BlakGooseTV.com. I'm going to give you guys the details, the nitty-gritty, then obviously we can move on. Michel Rivera views Frank Martin as the opponent who will lead him to a title shot. By the way, make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. That joint's right there, right next to the like button. Be part of the family. It's nothing but love. Notification game, man. We going crazy, man, when it comes to this this year, period. And it's gonna only like turn up when it comes to next year, man. We really going crazy with the channel, man. We having nothing but a good time. Make sure y'all check out the Twitch, BlakGooseTV. So let's get to it. BlakGooseTV.com. The Dominican Republic's Rivera is ranked in the top 15 by the IBF, WBA, WBC, and the WBO. But the undefeated contender hasn't received a shot at Gervonta Davis' WBA World Lightweight title, or undefeated 135-pound champion Devin Haney, of course, because Devin Haney is tied up over there with Top Rank's contract. Got to fight Lomachenko. Gervonta Davis obviously has that warm-up fight coming against Hector Luis Garcia, and then also and then afterwards he's going to be fighting Ryan Garcia. By the way, I have an update for you guys for Ryan Garcia as well. Remember, I told you guys he's going to have that warm-up fight in January, just like Gervonta Davis is. That's confirmed, so I'm going to be dropping a video about that. But anyways, that'll change according to Rivera once he beats Martin in their 12-round WBA elimination match. Once again, Frank Martin, protege of Errol Spence. The main event of Showtime's triple header December 17th from the Cosmopolitan of Las Vegas. It's my opportunity right now, Rivera told BlakGooseTV.com. I know that he's a prospect. I'm a contender. I have 24 fights. I've already won an eliminator, but he has a lot of skills. It'll give me an opportunity to fight for a world title. This fight is main event. It's good promotion for me. He's a good boxer, but I'm better, and I believe I can show that I'm the better guy. The 27-year-old Martin, so correct, I said 28, he's 27, is the second undefeated fighter. Rivera, 24-0, 14 KOs. Martin's 16-0, 12 KOs. Has agreed to box in his past 3 bouts, but the skillful, strong southpaw seemingly is the most talented opponent of Rivera's 6-year pro career. The only thing I am actually scared for when it comes to Michel Rivera taking this fight is the fact that Martin is 27 years old, so he has his grown man strength. And when you watch Frank Martin fight, he's very skilled. He's very technical. He can be hit. But the thing about him is you hit him once, he doesn't make the same mistake. And a lot of that comes down to him being 27, going on 28 years old. He understands, like, I need to correct this in the midst of things. I don't see that from Rivera just yet. He's still young. I feel like he's still a little bit leaning on the fact that he has great athleticism. He has great boxing ability. He has great boxing skills, a high IQ. But when I watch Rivera fight, especially against guys lower level than him, he'll get hit by shots he shouldn't be getting hit with. And I think that just comes with the fact that he's a young guy and he feels invincible and he can win. Going against Frank Martin, you cannot get hit with something that you're not supposed to get hit with. It'll either lose you the fight or it'll put you down. The Indianapolis native knocked down another Dominican contender, Jackson Marinas, once apiece in the 9th and 10th rounds before his fight, with Marinas was stopped with 30 seconds to go in their 10th round on July 19th at Alamodome in San Antonio. After I beat him, which is Frank Martin, Rivera said, then everybody will know they can't give me no more excuses for not giving me a title fight. This is the right fight for me because I know that everyone's talking about him as well. He's in my way right now. I have to beat him. I know that after this fight, something good is coming, but I'm only focused on this fight right now. The 24-year-old, not even 25 yet. This is like almost reminiscent. Like everyone's like mad going crazy for Ryan Garcia versus Gervonta Davis, but it's like, this is the same thing where it's like Ryan Garcia is like, you don't have to fight Gervonta now. Like you can milk it and you can wait till you're like 27 years old and you can fight Gervonta at 32. They'll say it's too little, too late, but nigga, we'll still watch. Look what's going on with Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence. So I see the same thing with Michel Rivera. It's like you're kind of fast forwarding your career for no reason. Like, why do you need to fight someone in their prime with their grown man strength when you're not there yet? I know you're taking a chance, but how much will that pay off you beating Frank Martin? Frank Martin is not an established guy at lightweight. How much will that do for you other than putting a name to your record? The 24-year-old Rivera, who resides and trains in Miami, is ranked by the WBA 6th by the IBF, 10th by the WBO, and 12th by WBC. Martin, who is represented by Errol Spence Jr.'s promotional company, is ranked 10th by WBA, but not in the top 15 by IBF, WBC, or the WBO. So technically, Frank Martin is making a jump up in his rankings by fighting Rivera, if you look at it. A Brazilian Rivera got off the canvas in 6th round to knock out Spanish contender John Fernandez, and he got dropped by a guy like Fernandez. Frank is probably going to win this fight. In the 8th round of the July 2021 bout at Dignity Health Sports. Rivera has since scored unanimous point victories over Argentina's Jose Matias Romero and Americans Joseph Ordono and then Jerry Perez, yet those wins haven't helped him secure a title shot. It's really hard, but that's boxing, Rivera said. Some of these things happen, and I have to be strong. I just got to keep working hard in the gym because I know one day the opportunity is coming. I don't get frustrated. I know that if it's not today, it's tomorrow. If it's not tomorrow, it's the next day, but one day is coming. So obviously, you see there was a lot of statements from Rivera, nothing necessarily from Martin. I think Martin's probably just going to be chilling, training, doing what he does. Rivera is a young and up-and-comer, so he probably feels like he has to talk a little more, say a little bit more. Like I said, I didn't know nothing about this fight being made official till now. So it's a big deal for someone at least to, start promoting this fight, especially if you guys have it as a main event. I'm happy I know now because I'm going to be watching it. I'm excited. But let me know, BlakGooseTV family, what do you guys think about this particular fight? What do you think about these two up-and-coming rising stars? I made this video longer than I wanted to. I'm sorry about that, guys. If you make it all the way to the end, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, notification gang, comment, give me an algorithm, show some love, road to 5K before the end of the year. And even if we don't reach it, we're going to reach it next year. You already know what it is. Much love to people. Stay blessed, not stressed. On the Sports Nigga side of the game, I'll be back with more boxing. You already knows. And check out